Good afternoon. I'm Congressman Dan Goldman, and it is really my pleasure to be here with Henry Street Settlement. Thank you, David Garza, the CEO of Henry Street Settlement, for inviting us here today. I met David before certainly before I was elected, and David's been a terrific advocate and mentor, and has done such a fabulous job running Henry Street. And I always say to David, this is the model of community engagement, of community service. It is a one-stop shop, and what's great for me as an elected official, when I go down to Washington, I can talk to David and I say, what's going on? Like, what are the issues? Because he covers so many different things. And so it's really my honor to be here today to get to present a check.
It's a very large one.
This is far and away my favorite part of the job. But we, several years ago, Congress re-implemented community project funding. And there are all sorts of restrictions, and it's an application process. But each member of Congress has an opportunity to submit up to 15 projects. And we immediately reached out to David to see if there was anything that Henry Street was thinking about working on. And David came back to us and said, we have this fabulous building, but it needs a lot of work. And so we went through the application process. We went through the appropriations process in Congress, which, if you follow along, is not the easiest thing in the world to get through. But we're really grateful to be here today to present nearly $2.2 million to Henry Street to renovate the landmark 281 East Broadway building, turn it into a multi-purpose community space to help the thousands of people that Henry Street that David and Henry Street are able to serve. It's always nice to be able to deliver funding for the district. But what is even better is when you know that funding that you're able to distribute is going to be used so effectively and so wisely. And even just seeing this terrific crowd here today on a Thursday afternoon demonstrates the commitment that the community has to Henry Street and Henry Street has to the community. So without further ado, I want to introduce the fabulous CEO, David Garza.
Thank you, Dan, and your team for coming to visit us here at Henry Street Settlement on the Lower East Side. As someone who's really fortunate enough to serve this organization in the capacity that I do, it's always really important and a profoundly meaningful opportunity to welcome partners, because we know after 131 years of doing this that we could not do this work alone. And so with that said, I also want to acknowledge, just by the wave of a hand or the nod of a head, the 700 team members who work at Henry Street Settlement, who some of you might be here today. How about a round of applause for the Henry Street Settlement team? And then, of course, all of our neighbors that are the very, very other important part of this very trusted relationship. So right behind me is our Henry Street Settlement headquarters. And our founding story is worth telling over and over again. We were founded by a 26-year-old nurse named Lillian Wald. And she was teaching a class here on the Lower East Side. And during that class, she was interrupted by a little girl who asked her to help tend to someone who was in trouble in a nearby tenement. She walked several blocks and came upon a woman, a mom, who was laying in a pool of her own blood. And she had been left by the doctor because she could not pay the bill. At that moment, Lillian Wald was a nurse. She knew that she was going to stick and stay and serve on the Lower East Side. And she calls that moment her baptism of fire. In order to stick and stay and serve, she needed a place to do that work. And so the building behind us, 265 Henry Street, was the first building that a financier named Jacob Schiff helped her acquire. And with that, she had a place. She had a place to fulfill her promise and the potential and the purpose of a Henry Street settlement. So 131 years later, we're still here doing what we can to activate spaces. Henry Street Settlement has 18 sites within 1 square mile if you're on the Lower East Side. Each one of them purposeful. Each one of them we have a sacred responsibility to keep the door wide open. And not only keep the door wide open, but make sure that something really good happens on the other side of it. And so we're really grateful to Representative Goldman for helping us open number 19, a 19th site. So that door will be wide open and serve as an intergenerational community center for anyone in need. Because with our community, and right now we're acutely aware of this, our community has always had more than its share of trauma and tragedy and loss. Yes. And in the recent weeks, we know with the incident that took 4 Lower East Side lives on the 4th of July, it was a direct impact to our heart. One of our Henry Street team members lost their 30-year-old daughter, whose 5-year-old child went to our daycare and after-school programs. This work for us is personal, and we need places and spaces to activate, because as much as this neighborhood has had its share of tragedy and grief and loss, it has more than its share of inspiration, resiliency, grit, tenacity, talent, and moments like this help us bring back the hope, because it gives us another door and another opportunity to connect with the people that we serve. So whether it's someone who has been out of the job market and is looking for a job, or if it's someone who's looking for daycare for their toddler, or if it's for a young person, it's their first time going to college, or if it's for a young person who just needs a safe place to be, our site at 281 East Broadway will become a vibrant, active, open door for our Lower East Side community. Thank you for making it possible. Thank you. And ideally, when someone comes to our door, they're not going to come alone. The settlement model is about serving the whole person, the whole family, the whole block, the whole neighborhood, so that someone can come and bring others who might need the support. The father who might need access to some resource or some benefit, like this firehouse to my left that serves as a first responder for families in crisis, health insurance access, food stamp access, legal services, financial services. Our community center at 281 East Broadway will be a wide open door for anyone who needs Henry Street to do what we do best. And that's what a gift like this does. It helps Henry Street Settlement be at its best. So we're profoundly grateful for the opportunity, but we're even more grateful for the lives impacted and the lives transformed. And we're really fortunate to have someone here today. When I talk about these generations and this 131 years of work, it lives through the families that live on the Lower East Side. And I'm going to bring up, and really grateful, honored, and proud to introduce someone who I've known for many years, probably when she was, well, I'm not sure exactly how, but for many years, and had the opportunity to be inspired by her, and to admire her, and to support, and to learn from her at any point. And I'll let Solana Quesada tell her story so that you can see the impact of this work in action. Solana?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Okay, perfect. My name is Solana Quesada. I'm a Posse Scholar at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where I'm double majoring in nursing and health promotion and health equity. Woo! I stand before you as a living testament to Henry Street's long legacy of serving community members across all stages of life and diverse community needs. My family story is deeply intertwined with Henry Street's history. My great-grandmother, Lena Goldstein, immigrated to the Lower East Side and was one of the first employees of Henry Street Senior Center in the 1950s. She often brought her daughter, my grandmother Mona, to work, and now in 2024, my grandmother remains one of the longest-standing members of the same center, finding in it a place to socialize, bring her own children and grandchildren, receive meals, and stay physically and mentally active. Growing up in this neighborhood, I benefited immensely from Henry Street's programs. I participated in their after-school and summer camp programs, took classes at Abrams Arts Center, like my mother and father did, and was a part of the Expanded Horizons College Access and Success program, which helped guide me through my Posse application and admission to the University of Wisconsin. My involvement continued when I joined Henry Street's COVID community response team during the pandemic. We delivered pantry, groceries, and other essential services throughout the neighborhood. One day, while delivering food, I ran into an older man that I had met from the center and was able to direct him to local pantry services. In times like these, I see how valuable these Lower East Side connections truly are. I work now for Henry Street's Summer Youth Employment Program team to ensure that the youth have secure employment throughout the summer. Like many people on the Lower East Side, I've had my fair share of ups and downs, but Henry Street has always provided consistent, supportive spaces and programs where I could enjoy life, build community, and stay active, all while learning how to excel and grow. The new multi-generational community center that Henry Street is developing is a crucial addition to our neighborhood. Strong, safe communities are built on connections with one another. Having the space to bond with our neighbors across all generations fosters a sense of responsibility and care for each other. I am incredibly excited about the expanded opportunities this renovated building on East Broadway will bring to our community. I extend my heartfelt thank you to Congressman Goldman's office for making this vision a reality. Together, we are building a stronger community for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Solana. Such an incredible story. And when you think about 131 years, when we had tenement houses down here in the Lower East Side, a huge Jewish community from which I come, and now we have such wonderful diversity in this area and so much great work that Henry Street has done. It's a great story about Lillian Wald and starting it. It really is special. Let us now do the best part, the big check presentation.
All right.
Hi. Come on in, guys.